Mm. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Uh,
Okay, because you can probably hear my clock in the background.
yes, I do.
All right. We'll wait another minute and then I'm going to start. Some people got in touch with me today and said that they had interviews, good for them. They got interviews
Oh,
and
okay.
they wanted to look at the recording. And I'm waiting for another gal to join. Not sure. She's usually late.
Okay.
I want to make sure. So she'll join whenever she joins. Let me just, I want to record this. Oh, let's
Okay.
go back. I want to make sure I get the recording going here. And I'll probably shut off the video because, there's a lot on the slides. So they don't want to, nobody wants to see our faces, right?
Uh,
All right, let's see. Where is my record button here? Because it's not going to do me any good unless I'm recording it.
yeah. Because what I see on the screen, there's I see a little red dot on the upper
Oh,
left-hand corner.
okay.
And
Yeah.
it says recording, and the dot is kind of like flickering light.
Yes,
So,
I see that on mine also. Okay, somebody else just joined. Let's see. Here she is, Judy. Hi, Judy. Oh, she's muted. Trying to unmute her.
Hi, Mary. I'll be right with you.
Hey, okay. There she is. All right, we're going to start soon, Judy. So I'm going to, if you guys don't mind, Judy, I also have Valeria Martin on.
Okay.
And she's another client of mine, and we have other people that want to join, but I got notes from a couple of other folks that they had interviews.
Oh.
So they won't be joining us. They're going to listen to the recording. So I'm just going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to mute everybody.
Okay.
And probably turn off the cameras also.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of slides, so it's probably best if people just see the slides. I mean, I've watched these videos where there's a bunch of people on them when I had to see the recording, and I did not like it. So I'm trying to shut the recordings off. I mean, this video. So we got Valeria's off, and let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. Okay, so welcome everybody to 6 Hacks to Successfully Find a Job or Pivot Your Career in the New Normal or in the pandemic. I'm going to go over a couple of the same slides that I did in the last presentation. So just to familiarize some people who might not have been there, I'm just going to go over a little bit of my background. That's my son in the middle and myself out in LA. This is my husband, Mike. My son's name is Danny. And we were at a Christmas party there, and that was a great dress my mother gave me. And these are friends of mine from high school at our 50th anniversary. Sadly, one of those people is no longer with us. So that's why we really wanted to get together at the 50-year mark. So let's see. So I have these questions that I'd like you to kind of jot down the answers to while we're in this seminar today. So how long has it been since you had a job or career change or pivoted in some way? And what was the cause of your job or career loss? How long has it been since you've interviewed for a new job or career? Because interviewing is a whole new ball game these days. How long has it been since you updated your resume or your LinkedIn profile or your Facebook profile? Number 5, who knows that you're looking outside of your immediate family? So there's no shame in asking people, and we're going to talk about that today. Who do you know who has successfully found a new career or job in the pandemic? There are people that are finding jobs. I was on the phone yesterday with a recruiter, and I've seen a lot of Facebook posts in some of the HR groups that I belong to, and they are really, really looking for people. There are a lot of jobs out there to be had, and people should not be shy or insecure about trying to find one because they're there. So let's think about this. Who do you know who could quickly land a new job, help you rather, land a new job or career? So who could help you quickly get someplace? And then what social media platforms have you used so far and what was the success rate? We're going to talk about social media quite a bit today in this session. So this is what we're going to talk about. These are the secrets that recruiters don't want you to know about because they work 100% of the time. And I can tell you the people that I've worked with, when we've addressed these 6 areas, they've been very successful. So it's be more visible, make it personal, talk a lot, let people know what's going on, let people know what you're doing, find a champion inside the company. Not so easy, but it can be done. Get out there and network. I know it's the pandemic, but there are certainly many, many virtual networking events. I'm going to talk about a lot more things. So this is just a little bit of background about me, and I think just about everybody who's going to be on the call knows this about me. I've written a number of publications that have been put out in some national magazines in the UK actually as well, and USA coaching magazines. I've got a book coming up, and that'll be out in November. And also I've got several certifications. One is Appreciative Inquiry, another is EQI 2.0 and EQ 360, which is the emotional intelligence assessment. And then I've been in Providence Business News over the last year 3 times, and I should have added here that I did receive an award from them. So why am I talking today? Because I have a lot of experience with this. I've been in large corporations for over 30 years. I've learned what it takes. I've watched successful friends, enemies, and frenemies. I've watched careers rise and crash and burn. But I always tried to leverage whatever the company gave me. And when you work for any company, I don't care if it's large or small, you're going to learn a lot. These are some of the things that I did gain while I was working in corporate. They paid for my master's degree, and I got a number of certifications, which I have brought into my coaching and executive management practice as well, because sometimes people don't understand how to negotiate a contract. Well, I have 14 years of successfully negotiating contracts from $10,000 up to 14 million. So these are some of the things that I've done. Just going to take a little sip here of coffee. This is my Achievement Award from Providence Business News. I was a 2020 Achievement Award honoree. Done a number of speaking engagements. This was a networking event. I believe it was a Chamber of Commerce dinner. And I met Governor Raimondo. Small state, easy to meet a lot of kind of interesting people. And this little tiny thing over here is the best I could do. I also received honorable mention for Women to Watch in 2016 from the Rhode Island Small Business Journal. So that's a little bit about me. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about the strategies that recruiters don't want you to know about. I talked a little bit about some of these, but number 6 I didn't mention, and that is to break out that contact list and use it as your advocate list. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But basically, we all have Christmas cards. And one of the other analogy, a Christmas card list rather, and one of the analogies that I like to use also is think about the 250 people that would care if you were going to have a funeral and that might want to come. So those people, though, that is your gold mine. That's where your big contacts, your best contacts are going to come from. And what I recommend is get that list out and email 5 people a day and tell them what you're looking for and what you want. And those of you who have worked with me before have heard that. 5 contacts a day. So don't stay at home and fret on the couch or binge watch. I know a lot of people have been doing that. If you're looking, this is no time to binge watch your favorite Netflix series. Don't nurse your feelings with self-pity, as my deceased mother-in-law used to say, get off the pity pot. And then try to keep as normal a schedule as possible. So try to get up at the same time every morning. Try to get out and about, go to the grocery store, go to church if you can with the social restrictions that we have today. But don't be invisible, be on those Zoom meetings and let people know that you're out there. So make it personal. So now is not the time to be shy. Get to know people, reach out, press the flesh. That's kind of hard to do nowadays, but if you do go to an in-person networking meeting, bring your hand sanitizer and shake hands with people and get out of your comfort zone. A lot of us are shy. I know I'm kind of inhibited when it comes to a networking group, but I get out of the comfort zone because I'm not going to meet people by standing by the bar and looking sad for the entire evening. So how do you over communicate? Stay in touch with the connections, as I just said. Any means that is modern or old-fashioned. That means writing a postcard, writing a thank you note, writing a note, emailing, calling on the phone, whatever it takes, stay in touch with people. We talked a little bit about a champion. What is the value of a champion? If you know somebody that can support you, it can be anybody, a mentor, a coach, a good friend, a relative. It's amazing how relatives can play into helping people find jobs. And the champion gives you that gift of guidance and keeps you updated on what's going on in your industry. A lot of that comes from joining a professional organization. And I know people that are going to be on this call all have professions, and each one of those professions has a professional organization. You need to be active in your professional organization. So it can be, you can connect with someone at a job fair. I'm going to talk about virtual job fairs in the coming weeks, because that's a big question. How do I get noticed at a virtual job fair? And then make the networking rounds. I already talked about this a little bit. There's still networking going around. Some groups have resumed their in-person networking with the proper social requirements and restrictions. If you can, I recommend it when you're looking. It doesn't matter, mask up, bring the hand sanitizer and go. Also, you can just Google what's out there. Go in and look for networking groups in my area and lists will come up, lists that you didn't even know about. And then we know about the virtual networking. The chambers of commerce are great. If you can join a chamber, I recommend that. And then if you have a chance to get on a social event or meet in a small group, if you're going to have people to your house, let them know, connect with them, and then make those social events into networking events. So if you're inviting 3 or 4 people over for drinks or appetizers or whatever, tell them what's going on in your life. Tell them you're looking and you could use their help. And then I already talked about this, is using your contact list as your advocate list. Who do you know? Get out that Christmas card list. Let those people know you're looking. And then I mentioned already the 250 people that might want to pay their last respects to you at your funeral because they care and respect you. Who are those people? Those are the people that want to help you. Those are your people in your tribe. And so you need to tap into that. So this is what we're going to do together over the next couple of weeks. We're going to conquer that never hear back syndrome. If you've gone through that, make a comment in the chat. Just say yes or raise your hand or whatever. But I hear from so many people that they go on an interview and never hear back, even after an interview that they thought went really great. So we're going to go over how to get some kind of answer out of the company, because it's just common courtesy to, allow a candidate to know whether or not they're in the running. And I've done this, and I've just boldly asked, where do I stand in the line of candidates? Do I have a chance? I've gone to my boss and said, unless you back me for this job, I'm not gonna get it. So those are the kinds of things you have to be aware of, and don't be afraid. So yeah, I hear it from Valeria. It happens when looking for students. They show interest and then fall off the earth. Yes, never hear back. Well, there's a way to get around that. We'll talk about this. I already talked about number 2, and the reason that I'm bringing that up for about the 3rd time is because the people that you know are the people most likely to reach out and help you. The other thing is, it's all about relationships. We're going to talk about using LinkedIn today and Facebook. I'm going to focus a lot on those 2 methods of finding a job, but they're all based on relationship building. How do you get noticed on the inside? And I can tell you, I think I may have mentioned a story about a client of mine who wanted to work at CVS. That was her goal. We sat for a whole session and talked about where she wanted to be in the next 3 months or so. And she said she wanted to work at CVS, and she literally stalked CVS. She went to the corporate headquarters in Woonsocket and just hung out in the lobby and got friendly with the receptionist, who told her all kinds of interesting things about the company. And long story short, she did eventually get hired there. We're also going to learn how to pass the phone screens with confidence and ease. Now, the big word there is confidence. People have fear of the phone, and I don't blame you. It is kind of daunting to pick up the phone and just start chatting with somebody, especially with a phone screen, because you know what they're trying to do is screen you out. That's the whole purpose of a phone screen, is to not hire you. It's like an insurance company. Their whole purpose is to not hire you, or not pay you rather, excuse me. So yeah, pass those phone screens, and it just takes a little boldness and confidence, and just tell yourself you can do it, and you can do it. Now, here's another tricky thing. Virtual interviews. Who's had a virtual interview? And they can be very unnerving. And that same client I was talking about who went to CVS, when her first video interview was not with a person. She sat in front of the screen and questions popped up on the screen, and she was given a certain amount of time to answer the question. So I thought that was very unnerving. And I told that story to a couple of other people who were looking, and that was a shocker. Not everybody knows that they may not be talking to a human. Now, one of the ways that you can fly through the video screen, whether or not you're talking to a machine, get to know the key decision makers. And that's not as hard as you think it is. It, again, takes persistence. One thing I like to tell people, it's not on these charts, but one thing I like to tell people is that 8 hours a day, your job is finding a job. So when you get up in the morning, remember I said, stay to a normal schedule. Get up, have your coffee, watch the news, clean up your dishes, sit down at your computer, or, well, now I don't know if you're going to be able to go to a co-working center, but sometimes you can get to a place that's quieter than your home, even if you have to lock yourself in your bedroom. And your whole day is around focusing on getting a job, contacting recruiters, contacting hiring managers, and doing a number of different things, practicing your interviews, refining your resume, talking to other people that can help you. So that's your 8-hour block of day. And that is your job until you find some. So today I want to focus on using social media because I know that this is a big thing for all of us today, and social media is becoming even more important because we're all locked up in this pandemic and a lot of us are afraid to go out, and our human contact has been kind of limited. But I dug up some of these statistics having to do with social media and job hiring. 92% of companies use social media for recruiting for new employees. So just keep that in mind. If you are not using social media to find clients or to find a job, you have to get on there and you have to be persistent. 45% of Fortune 500 companies include links to their social media on their career page. So when you go to their career page, it'll say, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn. And that is not a bad idea because that's how you gain insight into what's happening with that company. So if you are on a career page for a company that you are interested in, click on their social media links. That's really important. And also it'll connect them indirectly to you and you'll start to get messaging from them. And that's what you want to be continuously updated on what's going on in that company. So one of the things I like to emphasize to people is find out what's going on inside the company that you want to work for. Do a Google search, look them up on LinkedIn, see who's hiring, look at who works there. Lots of times, and LinkedIn will do that, they'll say your connection so-and-so works at this company, and you can get in touch with that connection and ask them about the job. And I've done that. And the person got back to me and said, Mary, you don't want to work here. This job is not what they said in the LinkedIn job description. So isn't that interesting? She was a former admin of mine, and she was working for this, I know it was a big food company, and they had a perfect job opening for me. And her name popped up on LinkedIn. And when we spoke, she goes, don't come here. So that was a good warning. Now, 66% of companies use Facebook, but they use it in a little bit of a different way, and we're going to talk about that. 45% use Twitter, mostly for communication, mostly to blast out some kind of company news. They might blast out their openings, but if they're on Twitter and you're on their radar screen, they're going to be looking at your Twitter feed, so you got to be careful about that. Also, Meetup, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but Meetup is a networking site. They offer offline in-person meetings for professional networking. Nowadays, I've noticed a lot of the Meetup groups have gone virtual, which is great. There might be like a $5 fee for some of these, but if it's in your line of work, you want to join that just to meet people and find out what's going on. And also YouTube. I've been using YouTube a lot lately, and I found it to be extremely effective. And one of the ways you can use YouTube is to just put your resume out there on YouTube. Just tell them who you are, what you do, what your strengths are, and keep it about under 5 minutes. And you can also make that link to one of your posts. So if you're posting on LinkedIn or posting on Facebook, you can use your YouTube link and it'll come right up on that post. People can click on it and they will immediately get your face and you'll be telling your story, what you're looking for, why you're a fit, what you bring to the table, and just a summary of your resume under 5 minutes long. So you could watch some of those for some really clever ideas, but I've started using it lately and I'm a little bit hooked on it, I must say. You can record directly on YouTube. One of the things I like to tell people is get your own channel and keep all of your YouTube videos in one place. And you can also publish a link to your YouTube channel so that when people click on that link, they can see all the videos you've done. So that's just a great idea. And I've got some old ones on there that I'm not super proud of, but they get the message out. You know, I've learned to be better in front of the camera since I started in 2014. But every single one I've done is out there. And one of the other things I like about YouTube is that you can feature a video. So you can put a short 1-minute introductory feature at the very beginning of your YouTube page, and that'll give people a little more insight into what you do and who you are, and then you can invite them to click on your other videos. So I like YouTube for that. So a little more statistics about social media. 73% of applicants are successfully hired by companies using social media. And 42% of these companies say that the candidate quality that they're getting has improved because there's so much pressure to have a really good social media presence. So people don't want to put not such a great foot forward out there. And it's easier for the recruiters and the hiring managers to do research on you. And 20% of hiring managers say that it takes less time because they know what they're looking for and they can see it right off the bat. So you have to be careful on social media. And I found this out, well, I was lucky because it wasn't exactly the hard way, but I found this out when I applied to graduate school because before I got in, while my application was being reviewed, the director of admissions asked to friend me on Facebook. So I wasn't going to say no. So then I realized right then and there that whatever was on my Facebook page was going to be in front of her. So that was kind of a warning. Employers are doing this. So 3 of 4 hiring managers are checking people's social profiles. Even if you don't provide it, they're going to Google you and find your Facebook or LinkedIn profile page. 1 in 3 employers rejected candidates based on something found on a social profile. We don't have any kind of documentation on what those things were, but 1 in 3 rejected the candidate based on something that they saw. So if anybody has anything the least bit objectionable, if you were at a wedding and you had a little too much to drink and somebody filmed you and stuck it out on YouTube or Facebook, God forbid LinkedIn, you have to try to get that thing down or get it off there because the employers are going to find it. And 78% of recruiters disapprove of referencing to using illegal drugs. Of course, we don't want to see anybody sniffing or smoking or inhaling things. And even if the drug is legal, like marijuana is in so many states, it's not a good look really to be smoking pot on your profile. That's not the best first impression. And most of them don't like any kind of sexual nature posts. So don't post anything. Bad words, the F-bomb, that falls under that category. So I highly recommend that you go in and purge any posts or anybody who posts on your site. I've had quite a few people that I've had to hide their comments because they've used the F-bomb. And these are people that I know, that I've worked with, that have been my clients, that I've socialized with, and I had to take down their comment because I don't want my profile in any way being associated with anything negative, and I consider the F-bomb negative. So people that are looking for jobs are turning more to social media now. So there's 14.4 million people in the US using social media to search. 29% of those people use social media as their primary tool. And I can believe that because particularly in these days of pandemic and fear of going out and having to use hand sanitizer and masks, it has become very important. I believe that statistic is probably higher now. That's probably about a year old. It's probably from 2019. And I would bet it's closer to 70% now are using social media as their primary tool. So we talked about YouTube. I'm just going to go over these really, really quickly. You can promote yourself. As I said, give a short introduction, tell people what your skills are, keep it to under 5 minutes, and then add those YouTube posts to your social media posts. You can create your own channel, add a new skill, or focus on one of your strengths as it comes along. Maybe you're in training for something. Maybe you're in training on Office, or the latest version, OS 10 or whatever it is. So you want people to know that, especially if you've completed like program management or any kind of other certification or designation. Make sure people are aware of that. If you have a specialized master's degree or any kind of specialized background or talent, I know Valeria is a gilder. That's a very unique artistic talent. So that is something that could really be focused on in a YouTube video. And also try to be creative, show what you can do and what you're capable of. And it's really great practice for those video interviews, even when there's nobody on the other end. At least you'll be used to being in front of the camera. And that's really important because people get very nervous. And people get nervous in in-person interviews, so it's even worse on video. So practice on YouTube. You can always delete the video if you don't like it. So what I want to do is talk about LinkedIn today. I would like to do a profile review with people. If you have a LinkedIn profile, it would be great. Oh my goodness. One of my guys is trying to get in, so I'm going to just pause here for a second and send him the Zoom link. So just give us a second here. I'm going to pause this.